Hello, book lovers. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in to another video. And today we are talking about poetry. Poetry isn't just about beauty, it can be raw, surreal, unsettling, and deeply political. Few poets capture this better than Kim Hyesoon, one of South Korea's most important and radical voices. Today we're exploring her poetry collection, It's Okay, I'm Pig, a book filled with themes of death, feminism, and the grotesque realities of modern life. So let's get started. Kim Hyesoon is widely considered one of South Korea's most significant living poets. She began publishing in 1979 during the military dictatorships of Park Chung-hee and I just lost my page. Oh, Park Chung-hee and Chun Do-hwan. And this was a time of political oppression, and this deeply influenced her work. She's also a major figure in feminist poetry, challenging the male dominated literary tradition in Korea. And Dawn Mi Che, who translates her work, describes her poetry as an exploration of women's multiple and simultaneous existence as grandmothers, mothers, and daughters in Korea's highly patriarchal society. Her work is experimental, provocative, and often disturbing, filled with visceral imagery and critiques of power, gender, and history. She also has an interesting relationship with the term woman poet. She often insists on the label, but not because she fully embraces it. Instead, she sees it as something forced upon her by the male literary establishment. She has said that when she started writing in the 1970s, she felt like her tongue was paralyzed. There were no role models for women poets, and she had to reinvent her mother tongue to find her own voice. This tension between accepting a label and fighting against it is central to her poetry. It's a paradox, and she says it's from that paradox that her work emerges. So, what are some of the recurring themes in It's Okay, I'm Pig? What can we expect from this collection? So, Kim Hye-soon once gave a list of key words that define her poetry. An interviewer asked her to choose some keywords, and she chose this selection: deaf, women, South Korea, absence, rats, soul, illness, and poetry. And her poems often feel dreamlike, abstract, and unsettling, yet they often carry deep emotional and political weight. I just want to check very quickly that I got that list of keywords. Right. Where did I? Yeah, soul absence. Yeah, she said deaf, women, South Korea, you, soul absence, illness, rats, and poetry. Sorry, I just wanted to double check that. And okay, yes. So what type of political and social commentary do we find in her poems? So one of the major themes in this book is Korea's political history, but not in any straightforward way. Her poems aren't history lessons; they reimagine the past through surreal and frequently disturbing imagery. So, for example, Spring 1996 references a North Korean submarine incident where infiltrators were said to have committed suicide rather than be captured. In other poems, she draws from shamanistic traditions and Korean folklore, blending the real and the mythical. She also has a rather unique way of portraying South Korea's capital city, Seoul. In Seoul's Dinner, the city itself is imagined as a monstrous, consuming beast full of guts and intestines. While in another poem about Seoul, she again turns to shamanistic, dreamlike visions of Korea's mountains. Her poetry isn't just about Korea's past, it's about how history, trauma, and the modern urban experience all collide in grotesque and unsettling ways. And another thing that features prominently is pigs. Why Why are there so many pigs in the pigs and pig imagery in these poems? So these poems are filled with pig imagery, and the title poem "It's Okay, I'm Pig" is just an explosion of pig metaphors and images and so on. Why pigs? So, in interviews, she has explained that she was deeply disturbed by a 2011 incident in South Korea where 3 million pigs were buried alive due to a foot and mouth disease outbreak. She saw horrifying TV reports of pigs being dumped into mass graves, still moving. She also watched a documentary on factory farming, exposing the brutal treatment of pigs in the meat industry. To her, the suffering of pigs mirrored the suffering of people during South Korea's military dictatorships. She even said that for a long time she couldn't meditate or focus, as all she could think about was the cruel deaths of these pigs. So, this is why her poetry is so obsessed with pig imagery. They become a symbol of mass suffering, dehumanization, and violence. So, why should you read this collection? So, this is a book for poetry lovers looking for something experimental and daring, or for readers interested in feminist and political themes, and anyone curious about surreal, dreamlike poetry with a dark edge. Her work here is challenging, sometimes grotesque, and often abstract, but it's also deeply rewarding. If you're open to poetry that pushes boundaries, this book is a must read. So, what do you think? Have you read It's Okay, I'm Pig, or any of Kim Hyesoon's other works? What are your thoughts on surreal poetry and its ability to tackle political and feminist themes? Let's continue the discussion in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video to support the channel, subscribe for more poetry and literary deep dives, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.